ExamPrep.School, Wisconsin General and State Casualty Insurance Exam, Exam Code 22-7. There are 4 practice exams in this series. This video covers Practice Exam 1. The first 20 questions are free. In this video, we will be covering the following major categories for Practice Exam 1. Auto insurance, business owner's policy, casualty insurance basics, commercial package policy, general insurance, insurance regulation, other coverages and options, workers' compensation insurance. Let's walk through the format. I'll read each question and its choices. Let's get started. Question 1. Under Wisconsin law, which individual must be licensed as an insurance producer? A public adjuster negotiating settlement fees between insurer and claimant. B, an individual negotiating claim settlements on behalf of an insured. C, a salaried employee adjusting claims under the authority of an insurer. D, a person who solicits, negotiates, or sells insurance contracts for compensation on behalf of an insurer. A countdown circle appears in the top right. Once it completes, the answer is revealed. You can pause at any time if you'd like longer to think. If you'd like additional practice covering more topics, see the description for our book. The correct answer is D. The correct answer is that only those who solicit, negotiate, or sell insurance contracts for compensation on behalf of an insurer meet Wisconsin's definition of an insurance producer. Reason A is not correct. Public adjusters represent claimants rather than insurers and are licensed under a different category. Reason B is not correct. Negotiating claim settlements for an insured is a claims activity, not producer licensing. Reason C is not correct. Adjusters employed by insurers to handle claims do not require a producer license. Question 2. A non-resident producer holding a valid license in another state becomes a Wisconsin resident. Within how many days must the producer apply for a Wisconsin resident license? A, 30 days. B, 60 days. C, 90 days. D, 120 days. The correct answer is C. The correct answer is that a non-resident producer must obtain a Wisconsin resident license within 90 days of becoming a resident under state regulation. Reason A is not correct. 30 days is too short. Wisconsin law specifies a longer period. Reason B is not correct. 60 days underestimates the allowable application window. Reason D is not correct. 120 days exceeds the statutory deadline. Question 3. Which disclosure is required on the initial Wisconsin producer license application? A, proof of completion of continuing education credits. B, past employment wage history over the previous 5 years. C, current net worth statement, certified by a CPA. D, any felony conviction regardless of how long ago it occurred. The correct answer is D. The correct answer is that applicants must disclose all felony convictions. Financial statements and CE proof are not required on initial applications, and wage history is not requested. Reason A is not correct. Continuing education proof is required at renewal, not on the initial application. Reason B is not correct. Wage history is not part of the producer application disclosures in Wisconsin. Reason C is not correct. A net worth statement is only required for certain financial guarantee licenses, not general producer applications. Question 4. Under Wisconsin regulations, which of these applies to fingerprint-based background checks for producer license applicants? A, applicants pay no additional fee for fingerprint processing when applying electronically. B, fingerprint submissions are required only if an applicant has a prior misdemeanor conviction. C, all applicants for a resident producer license must submit fingerprints for an FBI and state criminal history check. D, fingerprinting is waived if the applicant holds 5 or more years of licensure in another state. The correct answer is C. The correct answer is that every resident producer applicant must submit fingerprints for FBI and state checks. Convictions or prior licensure duration do not waive this requirement. Reason A is not correct. Applicants must pay a fingerprint processing fee regardless of application method. Reason B is not correct. Fingerprinting is universal for resident applicants, not limited to those with convictions. Reason D is not correct. No waiver exists for experienced out-of-state licensees. Fingerprints are mandatory. Question 5. How often and on what date does a Wisconsin resident producer's license expire? A. Annually on the last business day of the producer's birth month. B. Annually on the anniversary date of initial issuance. C. Biennially on December 31st, regardless of birth month. D. Biennially on the last day of the producer's birth month. The correct answer is D. The correct answer is that Wisconsin resident producer licenses expire every 2 years on the last day of the licensee's birth month, as specified by state regulation. Reason A is not correct. Expiration is biennial, not annual, and uses the calendar date, not business day. Reason B is not correct. Licenses do not follow the initial issuance anniversary but the birth month schedule. Reason C is not correct. Expiration is not tied to calendar year-end, but to the birth month every 2 years. Question 6. A Wisconsin insurance producer is approaching her biennial license renewal and reviews the continuing education CE requirements. She must complete the state-mandated total CE credit hours, including the ethics component. Which of the following satisfies Wisconsin's CE requirements? A. 24 credit hours including 3 hours of ethics instruction. B. 24 credit hours including 6 hours of ethics instruction. C. 30 credit hours including 3 hours of ethics instruction. D. 12 credit hours with no ethics requirement. The correct answer is A. The correct answer is 24 credit hours, including 3 hours of ethics instruction, because Wisconsin requires 24 total CE hours every 2 years, of which at least 3 must be ethics. Reason B is not correct. Including 6 ethics hours exceeds the 3-hour ethics minimum. Reason C is not correct. Wisconsin requires 24 total CE hours, not 30. Reason D is not correct. 12 hours is only half the required 24 hours and omits the ethics mandate. Question 7. A producer just legally changed her last name and moved to a new residence in Wisconsin. Under state regulations, within how many days must she notify the Office of the Commissioner of Insurance of both her name and address changes? A. 10 days. B. 30 days. C. 60 days. D. 15 days. The correct answer is B. The correct answer is 30 days because Wisconsin requires producers to report any name or address change to the commissioner within 30 days of the change. Reason A is not correct. 10 days is shorter than the 30-day period mandated by Wisconsin. Reason C is not correct. 60 days exceeds the 30-day reporting requirement. Reason D is not correct. 15 days is half the prescribed 30-day time frame. Question 8. A Wisconsin producer allowed her license to expire by failing to renew when due. She contacts the commissioner's office 8 months later after satisfying all continuing education credits. What must she do to reinstate her license? A. Pay the reinstatement fee and submit proof of completed CE credits. B. Retake the licensing examination in her line of authority. C. Wait until the next renewal period and apply normally. D. Submit a new application with background disclosures. The correct answer is A. The correct answer is to pay the reinstatement fee and submit proof of completed CE credits because reinstatement within 12 months requires payment and CE proof without retaking exams. Reason B is not correct. Retaking the exam is required only after 12 months or more have passed. Reason C is not correct. Waiting ignores the reinstatement window and risks having to retake exams. Reason D is not correct. A new application is unnecessary when reinstating within the allowable period. Question 9. Under Wisconsin law, which of the following orders may the Office of the Commissioner of Insurance issue against an insurer? A. Revoke policyholder contract provisions unilaterally. B. Levy criminal fines against company executives. C. Require the insurer to cease unfair claim settlement practices. D. Adjudicate private disputes between insureds and insurers. The correct answer is C. The correct answer is that the OCI can order an insurer to cease unfair claim settlement practices as part of enforcing insurance regulations. Reason A is not correct. The OCI cannot unilaterally revoke or change private contract provisions between insurer and insured. Reason B is not correct. Criminal fines fall under the jurisdiction of criminal courts, not the OCI's administrative order authority. Reason D is not correct. Resolving private disputes is outside the OCI's role, which focuses on regulatory enforcement rather than adjudicating individual contract disputes. Question 10. Under the Wisconsin OCI hearing procedures, a respondent must submit a written request for hearing within how many days of receiving notice? A. 90 days. B. 10 days. C. 60 days. D. 30 days. The correct answer is D. The correct answer is 30 days, which is the statutory deadline for requesting a hearing after notice under Wisconsin OCI procedures. Reason A is not correct. 90 days is well beyond the statutory deadline for requesting a hearing. Reason B is not correct. 10 days is too brief and is not the statutory period for a hearing request. Reason C is not correct. 60 days exceeds the allowed time frame set by statute. Question 11. Which statement accurately describes the scope of market conduct examinations conducted by the Wisconsin OCI? A. Inspection restricted to the prior 2 years of insurer operations. B. Audit limited to financial statements and actuarial reports. C. Examination of insurer and producer records relating to insurance transactions. D. Review solely of policyholder complaint logs. The correct answer is C. The correct answer is that OCI market conduct exams cover insurer and producer records relevant to insurance transactions to assess compliance with laws. Reason A is not correct. There is no 2-year restriction. Exams may cover a broader time frame as needed. Reason B is not correct. Market conduct examinations go beyond financial and actuarial documents to include underwriting and claims records. Reason D is not correct. Complaint logs are reviewed, but exams also include a wide array of transaction records. Question 12. Under Wisconsin regulations, how long must an insurance producer retain records of insurance transactions? A. 3 years from policy expiration. B. 5 years after the transaction or policy cancellation. C. 7 years after license termination. D. 2 years following a producer compliance audit. The correct answer is B. The correct answer is that producers must keep transaction records for 5 years after the transaction date or policy cancellation under Wisconsin law. Reason A is not correct. 3 years is too short compared to the statutory 5-year requirement. Reason C is not correct. Record retention is tied to transactions or cancellations, not license termination. Reason D is not correct. Retention is not based on audit dates, but on a fixed 5-year period. Question 13. In Wisconsin, insurers are expected to send a written acknowledgement of a consumer complaint within what period of receipt? A. 30 calendar days. B. 10 business days. C. 5 business days. D. 60 business days. The correct answer is B. The correct answer is that insurers must provide written acknowledgement within 10 business days of receiving a consumer complaint under Wisconsin complaint handling rules. Reason A is not correct. 30 days is too long compared to the 10 business day requirement. Reason C is not correct. 5 days is shorter than the statutory acknowledgement period. Reason D is not correct. 60 days far exceeds the expected acknowledgement time frame. Question 14. Which of the following practices is classified as an unfair trade practice under Wisconsin insurance law? A. Offering discounted rates to preferred insured groups. B. Misrepresenting policy terms or benefits. C. Denying all claims until commissioner approval. D. Publishing an insurer's financial strength ratings. The correct answer is B. The correct answer is that misrepresenting policy terms or benefits is explicitly prohibited as an unfair trade practice under Wisconsin insurance statutes. Reason A is not correct. Offering lawful rate discounts to certain groups is not an unfair trade practice. Reason C is not correct. Claims handling procedures pending approval do not in themselves constitute an unfair trade practice. Reason D is not correct. Publishing financial strength ratings is a permissible informational practice, not an unfair trade practice. Question 15. After failing to maintain required records, a Wisconsin insurance producer receives an administrative penalty but remains non-compliant. Under Wisconsin Office of the Commissioner of Insurance Authority, what is the maximum forfeiture that may be assessed for each day of continued non-compliance? A. $200 per day. B. $1,000 per violation. C. $500 per day. D. $5,000 per month. The correct answer is C. The correct answer is the $500 per day penalty authorized for administrative forfeiture per day of non-compliance under Wisconsin Statute Section 601.64. Reason A is not correct. A daily penalty of $200 is below the statutory maximum set for daily forfeiture. Reason B is not correct. The $1,000 amount refers to maximum penalty per violation, not per day of continuing violation. Reason D is not correct. There is no statutory provision for a $5,000 monthly cap. The statute specifies a daily forfeiture. Question 16. A producer is served with a cease and desist order by the Wisconsin Office of the Commissioner of Insurance for misrepresenting policy terms. To contest the order, within how many days of service must the producer request an administrative hearing? A. 10 days. B. 14 days. C. 30 days. D. 45 days. The correct answer is A. The correct answer is that a request for hearing must be filed within 10 days of service of a cease and desist order under Wisconsin Statute Section 601.64. Reason B is not correct. A 14-day window is longer than the statutory 10-day requirement for requesting a hearing. Reason C is not correct. A 30-day period exceeds the shorter time frame mandated for a cease and desist order hearing request. Reason D is not correct. A 45-day period is significantly longer than the statutory deadline for contesting such an order. Question 17. During an investigation, the Wisconsin Office of the Commissioner of Insurance issues a subpoena for documents. If the recipient refuses to comply, what action may the commissioner take to enforce the subpoena? A. File a petition in circuit court seeking enforcement through contempt proceedings. B. Immediately revoke the recipient's insurance license. C. Impose an administrative fine without court involvement. D. Conduct a warrantless search to seize the requested documents. The correct answer is A. The correct answer is that the commissioner may petition a circuit court to enforce the subpoena and pursue contempt proceedings for non-compliance. Reason B is not correct. License revocation is a separate disciplinary action, not the direct method for enforcing a subpoena. Reason C is not correct. Administrative fines address statutory violations but do not compel document production under subpoena rules. Reason D is not correct. Evidence must be obtained by legal subpoena and court enforcement, not by warrantless search. Question 18. A producer requests an administrative hearing after receiving notice of proposed license revocation by the Wisconsin Office of the Commissioner of Insurance. Under Wisconsin law, within how many days must the commissioner schedule that hearing? A. 15 days. B. 30 days. C. 45 days. D. 60 days. The correct answer is C. The correct answer is that the hearing must be scheduled within 45 days of receipt of the hearing request under Wisconsin's administrative procedure requirements. Reason A is not correct. A 15-day window is shorter than the statutory scheduling period required for a hearing. Reason B is not correct. A 30-day timeline does not satisfy the 45-day scheduling requirement under the statute. Reason D is not correct. A 60-day period exceeds the maximum time frame permitted for scheduling the hearing. Question 19. Under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which of the following is a permissible purpose for obtaining a consumer report? A. To determine eligibility for unsolicited marketing offers. B. To investigate the validity of an insurance claim under a homeowner's policy. C. To screen a prospective employee prior to obtaining written authorization. D. To assess a consumer's credit standing for the extension of new credit on an existing account. The correct answer is D. The FCRA permits obtaining a consumer report to assess creditworthiness for extension of credit on an existing account, as enumerated in Section 604, subsection A. The other listed purposes are not authorized under the Act's permissible purpose provisions. Reason A is not correct. Unsolicited marketing offers are not a permissible purpose under Section 604, subsection A. Reason B is not correct. Investigating an insurance claim is not among the statutorily listed permissible purposes for consumer reports. Reason C is not correct. Employee screening without the consumer's explicit authorization is prohibited under the Act. Question 20. Under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, an adverse action notice provided to a consumer based on information in a consumer report must include which of the following? A. The consumer's credit utilization ratio at the time of the decision. B. The original credit score used by the creditor to make the decision. C. A statement that the consumer has a right to a free copy of the report referenced and to dispute its accuracy within 60 days of receiving the notice. D. Contact information for the consumer's employer. The correct answer is C. Under FCRA Section 615, subsection A, an adverse action notice must inform the consumer of their right to obtain a free copy of the consumer report and to dispute inaccuracies within 60 days. Other items, such as the credit score or unrelated data, are not required. Reason A is not correct. Details like credit utilization ratios are not specified in the statutory notice requirements. Reason B is not correct. Disclosing the original credit score is not required by FCRA's adverse action notice provisions. Reason D is not correct. Employer contact information is not a required component of an adverse action notice. Enjoyed this practice test? Tap like, hit subscribe, and share it with a classmate. Got a question we should tweak? Comment below, we read them all. Find full practice exam books in the description or at ExamPrep.School.